So it's out, and I did it. I watched the Five Nights at Freddy's movie, finally. No spoilers, of course, but you will be getting my thoughts. And I'm sorry if this colors your opinion of your watch through, but I'm just warning you ahead of time. I strike a tone. So let's get this out of the way. It is okay, which is exactly what I was afraid of. But I also knew it was a bit much to maybe expect this to be not only a great horror movie or a great video game adaptation, but also a great video game adaptation of a horror game franchise, especially a franchise as big as this one. That video game movie curse is still alive and kicking. And the really sad thing about this is it comes so close to being good. You can tell there was so much hard work put into this movie. You can tell in every frame that Blumhouse and everyone else involved were legit trying their best. The Blumhouse budget, the production value looks really good. The Jim Henson animatronics are really nice. And Emma Tammy is a good director. Everything that I've seen of hers, everything that I've listened to of hers, she's done a podcast or two, I have thoroughly enjoyed. And that really breaks my heart. You can tell the entire way that she and everyone else involved in the movie are really trying to make this good by elevating it and rising above what is otherwise really poor planning and just kind of underwhelming writing. That really hurts me more than if the movie had just been outright terrible. When a movie seems like it's really close to hitting the mark and misses it, that's just insult to injury. I can't talk about them, but it was just such easy fixes, you know? And this movie makes some truly baffling choices, not just adaptation-wise, but just tonally, and just like, ooh. The first half of the movie, even though it's kind of slow, starts out relatively strong. There's like a lot of interesting ideas that they bring to the franchise. There's some decent performances and just lots of promising stuff that gets you interested. And then the second half just does some really baffling and frustrating stuff. Really avoidable stuff. I also think that while it was obviously trying to straddle the line between pleasing the fan base and casual viewers, this is going to genuinely baffle newcomers. Not that it's impossible to understand what's going on, it's just that the movie doesn't really sell itself well on why these things are captivating millions of people. In my opinion, anyway. As usual, it's just a problem with execution. And I feel like the script was one or two rethinks from being really, decent, good. Which is sad. Because I know that Scott Cawthon personally went through, 20 or 30 scripts before he settled on this one. And he still should have made some changes. Also, even though there are, some nice nods to the games, it almost feels afraid to be indulgent in those connections. And you don't want filmmakers kind of shining a spotlight on every reference. That gets really annoying, but what they do end up doing just kind of comes off as dull. There are certainly nods to the fandom, though. I'm not going to spoil it, but get ready, they're coming. Also, not really scary, so that sucked. But still, I am preparing for the inevitable future that there are more of these things. At least one, probably more. Because apparently, the movie already made back its budget and then some before it even got released in theaters from a bunch of deals that were being made from behind the scenes. So, that's nuts. Even if the reviews are bad, I suspect that Blumhouse and Scott Cawthon are probably going to want to do more of these things. But if they do, I suspect they're going to try and really rethink some of this because they want to do better next time. The reviews have been divisive, I'll put it that way. I don't know, maybe watch it on Peacock. It's already streaming. Honestly, that should have been the first red flag. And your mileage may vary. You may get a much bigger kick out of this than I did. In the very least, it's a very, safe kind of gateway horror for kids, I guess. so that they can get into the scarier stuff eventually, but I don't know that I'll be watching it again anytime soon, sadly. I will say, though, pay attention to the freaking maintenance room scenes. There's some interesting lore dumps there. If you know, you know. What does it mean, Scott?